to live in my soul. Break down every idol, cast out every foe. Now wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. Whiter than snow, yes, whiter than snow. Now wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. Lord Jesus, look down from thy throne in the skies and help me to make a complete sacrifice. I give up myself and whatever I know. Now wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. Whiter than snow, yes, whiter than snow. Now wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. Lord Jesus, thou seest I patiently wait. Come now and within me a new heart create. To those who have sought thee, thou never saidst no. Now wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. Whiter than snow, yes, whiter than snow. Now wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. Whosoever heareth, shout the sound. Spread the blessed tidings all the world around. Tell the joyful news wherever man is found. Whosoever will may come. Whosoever will, send the proclamation over vale and hill. 'Tis a loving Father calls the wanderer home. Whosoever will may come. Whosoever cometh need not delay. Now the door is open, enter while you may. Jesus is the truth, the only living way. Whosoever will may come. Whosoever will, send the proclamation over vale and hill. 'Tis the loving Father calls the wanderer home. Whosoever will may come. Whosoever will the promise secure. Whosoever will forever must endure. Whosoever will, 'tis life forevermore. Whosoever will may come. Whosoever will, send the proclamation over vale and hill. 'Tis a loving Father calls the wanderer home. Whosoever will may come. Thine is the glory, risen conquering Son. In this is the victory, thou o'er death hast won. Angels in bright raiment roll the stone away. Kept the folded grave close where thy body lay. Thine is the glory, risen conquering Son. In this is the victory, thou o'er death hast won. Jesus meets thee, risen from the tomb. Lovingly he greets thee, scatters fear and gloom. Let his church with gladness hymns of triumph sing. For her Lord now liveth, death has lost its sting. Thine is the glory, risen conquering Son. In this is the victory, thou o'er death hast won. No more we doubt thee, glorious Prince of life. Life is not without thee, aid us in our strife. Make us more than conquerors through thy deathless love. Bring us safe through Jordan to thy home above. Thine is the glory, risen conquering Son. In this is the victory, thou o'er death hast won.
Magandang gabi mga kapatid. Kung humingi ng paumanhin, ngayon lang po tayo nagkaroon ng pagkakataon na dito po sa ating Facebook Live ngayong gabi, Wednesday evening. Lord willing po sa Friday, magkakaroon din po tayo ng pangangaral po sa Facebook. Magandang gabi sa inyo lahat mga kapatid, mga kaibigan, at sa ating mga kaigsuonan, maayong gabi sa inyong tanan mga igsuon, sa ating mga kakabsat na ibang gabi, kada kayo amin kakabsat, sa ating mga kabugtuan kang Kristo, mangupay nga gabi, kabugtuan ko kang Kristo, sa ating mga katugaran sa may Bicol region, Diyos marahay na banggi sa inyong kabos, sa ating mga kapatid sa Malaysia, salamat pagi, at sa Indonesia, salamat malam. Salamat malam. Dito po sa mga taga Pangasinan, Masanto sa Labi, at sa kayo namin. Dito po sa aming lugar, sa Pampanga, Tarlac, napakarami mga taga Pangasinan. Ano po? Usually, mga businessman, titinda ng yung mga tinapandisan, etc. Kaya marami kong nakakausap mga taga Pangasinan. At syempre, sa lugar po namin, Pampanga, Tarlac, bahagi ng Bulacan, Bataan, bahagi ng Nueva Ecija, bahagi ng Zambales, may Pabingi, Kiakongan. Ang ating po pag-aaral ngayon ay isang katanungan ng isang kapatid na kaninong umaga ay nagtanong sa akin kanyo. Maaari ba kanyang dali ng bangkay ng isang kapatid sa church building? Yun po ang kanyang katanungan. So ito pong pag-aaral po natin, hindi po ito planado, no po? Pero kailangan nating pag-aralan. So ito pong, basta ang ating kaisipan, kapag ka nagkakaroon tayo ng pag-aaral, ay hindi ibig sabihin na itinuturo, yun ang totoo. Ibig sabihin, kailangan nating tignan. Ako po ay meron akong pananampalataya sa bagay na ito. Meron akong pinaniniwalaan. At ito'y bunga ng aking pag-aaral. Pero hindi ibig sabihin na ako ay tama. Maaaring ako sa aking pananaw, ito ang tamang pagtingin. Pero baka naman hindi ako tama. So kaya nga po tayo pinagtutulungan na tayo pinag-aaralan. Yun po ang healthy attitude towards studying anything. Kung tayo po ay nag-aaral, we should be open-minded sa ating pinag-aaralan. Hindi tayo closed-minded na tinatapos natin ang pag-aaral. We are always open to study. Although meron tayong paninindigan. Tandaan po natin yun. Iba naman po yung parang butterfly na palipat-lipat sa mga bulaklak. Wala kang paninindigan. Meron tayong paninindigan. Meron naman mga tao na meron silang ginagawa, hindi pa nila naintindihan ang ginagawa po nila. Pagka tinatanong sila, wala silang malinaw na paliwanag. Mahirap yun. Dito po sa Acts chapter 17 verse 11, ito po ay mga taga-Udyo. These are not Christians. These were Jews from Berea. At si Apostle Paul ay nangaral sa kanila. Apostle Paul preached to them. Ito ang kailang attitude. This is their attitude. Basahin po natin. This were more fair-minded than those in Thessalonica. Paul immediately went to the synagogue sa Berea. Ano po? In that they received the word with all readiness and searched the scriptures daily to find out whether these things were so. So, pinag-aaralan po yung salita ng Diyos para malaman nila kung yung napakinggan ay totoo. Pero tinanggap nila. Tinanggap nila yung salita. Pero hindi natatapos sa pagtanggap. Kailangan pa rin nating pag-aralan. Hindi yung may kasalanan kasi yung ginagawa mong isang bagay, hindi mo naman pinag-aralan. You have to study it. O pinaniniwalaan mo na hindi mo nang pinag-aralan. Paano mo pinaniniwalaan kung hindi mo pinag-aralan? Dahil nakasanayan mo natin gawin? That's not healthy. Hindi po tama yan. So, kung naman po ng ating pananampalataya, it means pinag-aralan mo. At ang Biblia, tungkol sa bagay na yan. Kaya ito'y may tuturo mo. Kaya sabi po ni Pablo, kung tayo po yung mga ngaral, if we are a preacher, we are not preaching just to say anything. That's not the purpose of preaching. We are preaching the truth. Tinuturo natin katotohanan. Because only the truth will set us free from sin. Di ba? So dito po sa makikita natin, 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 16. Basahin po natin. Take heed. Ito po ay sulat ni Pablo kay Timothy. Take heed to yourself and to the doctrine, continue in them, for in doing this, you will save both yourself and those who hear you. So, ibig sabihin, mag-ingat tayo sa ating itinuturo kanya. Sa ating sarili, kung tayo mangarap. At magpatuloy tayo sa ganun pag-iingat para yung nakikinig sa atin, ay maliligtas din. So, kung mali po ang ating tinuturo, ay yung mga nakikinig sa atin, ng pinaniniwala tinuturo natin, hindi sila maliligtas. So, ang healthy attitude is to study kung ano ating pinapakinggan. Hindi yung tanggap lang tayo ng tanggap na hindi natin iniisip kung tama o hindi. O basta ba't kang makaral kanya na. Tanggapin mo na, hindi ha. Remember, we are not following a person. We are following Christ and His truth. So we do not believe a preacher just because we think he is a good preacher. We believe what he is preaching if it is the truth. Yun na makita natin. That's what should be our attitude. Yun natin dapat ang ating kaisipan. So, balik po tayo sa ating pinag-uusapan. Pwede ba nating the church building be used for funerals and wedding ceremonies? Hindi po ceremonies. Pwede ba natin gamitin yun sa ganung dahilan? O kaya, church birthday, birthday celebration inside the church building? Magkakahawig yan dahil we are talking about the use of the church building. Yun ang makikita natin. So, punta po tayo sa ating pag-aaral. May the church building be used for weddings and funerals. So basically, this issue deals with the use of the church building. Ito po ay pag-aaral kung ano talaga ang dapat nating paggamitan sa church building. Hindi ba? Yan ang makikita natin. Why do we build or construct a church building? What is the purpose for the church building? Yun ang mga basic question na we should understand. Before we construct a church building, we should understand what is the purpose of the church building. Ba't ka nagpapagawa ng building? Bakit na magpapagawa ng church building? What's the purpose? Di ba? The authority for the church building is by expedient. It is an expedient. It is authorized by a generic authority. Ito po meron tayong generic na otoridad na nagbibigay karapatan sa atin para gumawa ng church building. Dito po sa Hebrews chapter 10 verse 25, we need to assemble for worship. Sabi niya sumulat sa Hebrews, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as you see the day approaching. Ito po nga pagkaintindi ko sa day, yung destruction of Jerusalem. Yung iba hindi, pero yung aking pagkaintindihan sa context, makikita natin, do not forsake the assembling of ourselves together. So, merong utos na we assemble for spiritual purposes, to assemble. Ganon din po sa Acts chapter 20 verse 27. Kung babasahin po natin, ito po yung observance of the Lord's Supper na sa Troas na pumunta si na Apostle Paul at si Silas. Wala na po si Barnabas noon. Hindi na natin kung nangyari kay Barnabas. Ang kasakasama ni Pablo si Silas o Silas. Now on the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread, Paul, ready to depart the next day, spoke to them and continued his message until midnight. So ito po, when they came together, so sila ay nagkatipon kanya to observe the Lord's Supper. Ngayon din po sa 1 Corinthians chapter 11, yung may kaugnayan po doon sa Lord's Supper, they came together kanya. When you come together, it is not to observe the Lord's Supper. Pero basahin po natin sa 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 17. Now in giving this instructions, I do not praise you, since you come together not for the better, but for the worse. For first of all, when you come together as a church, I hear that there are divisions among you, and in part I believe it. For there must also be factions among you, that those who are approved may be recognized among you. Therefore, when you come together in one place, it is not to eat the Lord's Supper. So, to observe the Lord's Supper, you have to gather together in one place. So, yun pong, do not forsake the assembling of ourselves together on the first day of the week when we are gathered together to break bread, and you observe the Lord's Supper in one place, kanya, there is a necessary inference that there should be a place for assembly. Paano kayo magkakatipon kung walang lugar na pagtitipunan? So, hindi po specific yung lugar. It is not specified. So, it is a expedient. So, saan nagkakatipon ng mga kapatid? Doon sa unang mga Kristiyano, doon sa templo ng Jerusalem. Acts chapter 2, verse 46. So, continuing daily with one accord in the temple and breaking bread from house to house, they ate their food with gladness and simplicity of heart. So, continuing daily with one accord in the temple. Hindi sila kumakain doon. Ano? Pag kumakain sila, from house to house yun. Pero nagkakatipon sila doon sa templo. O kaya, sa tahanan ng mga kapatid, homes of brethren. Doon sa Romans chapter 16, verse 3, greet Priscilla and Aquila, my fellow workers in Christ Jesus, who risk their own necks for my life, to whom not only I give thanks, but also to the churches of the Gentiles. Likewise, greet the church that is in their house. So may church na nagkakatipon sa bahay ni Aquila at Priscilla, or church buildings. Under the modern context, local churches, most of them, they meet in a church building. And it is from the funds of the local church. What's the purpose? Why do a local church construct a church building? For the purpose of fulfilling work and congregational edification. It is spiritual in its purpose. It is not for social events, but it is for spiritual purposes. Worship, edification, gospel meeting, lectureship, etc. Yun ang purpose ng church building. Therefore, ang basic foundation natin dito The church building should only be utilized for the purpose for which it was constructed. So, ito papasok ngayon. How do we consider funerals and wedding ceremonies? Are they part of the work of the church? Yun ang dapat natin tignan. Are these spiritual activities in themselves? In yung funeral, for instance, when you go to a funeral, do you expect to hear preaching? Is that the inherent purpose of having a funeral? How about the wedding ceremony? Is the inherent purpose of the wedding ceremony is for brethren to be edified? Yun mang tanungan, di ba? Kasi if not, they are not authorized to be done in the church building. Napakasimple lang. So yun ba ating makikitang pag-aaral po natin sa gabing ito. Yun ang mga katanungan na dapat natin bigyan. We should consider, mga kapatid. We should consider. Kasi yun po talaga yung dapat nating bigyan pansin. Ano ba talaga yung pag-aaral po ng sa church building? Kaya pwede ba natin silang gawin, mga bagay pwede natin gamitin ng church sa ganitong layunin, mga kapatid. Yun po ang ating gustong tignan at pag-aralan. Kasi otherwise, magkakaroon tayo ng problema kung hindi po natin maunawaan itong ganitong klaseng pag-aaral, mga kapatid. So, dito po sa ating mga konsiderasyon po na dapat nating tignan, mga kapatid, tungkol sa ganitong bagay. Ano ba talaga yung purpose ng mga funerals o church building, wedding? Ano ba yan talaga? Are they religious in nature, yung pamagitan natin, or are they social events? Yung po ang ating gustong makita sa ating pag-aaral. Are they spiritual in nature or are they social events? Yung pong gusto nating bigyan pansin. Ano po, mga kapatid? So, sana ito po yung mapag-aral natin mabuti para hindi tayo magkakaroon ng problema. Kasi otherwise, pagka hindi natin binigyan po ito ng pag-aaral, bisa magkakaroon tayo ng problema, mga kapatid. Bakit hindi natin pinapansin yung ganitong mga bagay na dapat ay binibigyan natin ng pansin, mga kapatid. So, yun po ang ating titingnan. So, meron pong dalawang pagtingin sa bagay na ito. Number one, pwedeng gamitin ng church building for the purpose of funerals or wedding ceremonies. Mayroong pangalawa, hindi sila kasama sa gawain ng Panginoon. So, hindi maaaring gamitin ng church building for that purpose. Makikita natin. Yun po ang ating gustong bigyan pansin, mga kapatid. Kasi otherwise, magkakaroon tayo ng problema pag hindi natin binigyan ng pansin itong bagay na ito. So, pagdating po natin sa wedding ceremony, totoo po, it is an opportunity for us to to emphasize the importance of marriage, to preach regarding marriage during a wedding ceremony. Kasi, yun po ay isang bagay na binigyan tayo ng karapatan ng Diyos, di ba? So, tingnan po natin. Kasi po ito ay isang nagiging issue, so kailangan bigyan po natin ng masusing pagpapansin ang mga bagay na ito. Hindi po tayo dapat na basta-basta na lang po tayo naniniwala na hindi natin naiintindihan. Mas maganda sana kung dito po ay ating pinaniniwalaan at ating naiintindihan. So, as maraming taon, dito po ay pinag-uusapan kung maaaring gamitin o hindi ang church building for the purpose of funerals or wedding ceremony. Number 1, are they authorized? Meron bang authority for the use of the church building for such? Tingnan po natin ang paraan, tatlo lang, alam po natin yan. Meron tayong direct command or statement. Halimbawa, ang mga apostol pinutusan ng Panginoon going to all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. So yun po isang direct command or by express statement. Sa Mark 16:16, hindi to utos, sinasabi lang ng Panginoon, he who believes and is baptized shall be saved. Yun po isang direct statement. Direct statement or direct command. O kuminsan, ang isang bagay po ay ating ginagawa because of an approved example. Ito po ay ginawa ng mga kapatid na di sila nagkasala, hindi kinasiya ng Espiritu Santo, at di sinasabi sila nagkasala. So it is implied that it was authorized, di ba? An example is not something, it is a thing that is shown. Ang utos, it is something that is told, sinasabi sa atin. Pero an approved example is something that is shown. Ito yung pinakikita kung anong ginawa ng mga kapatid na hindi sila nagkasala. Halimbawa sa Acts chapter 20 verse 7, sinasabi sa atin na upon the first day of the week, when we are gathered together to break bread, Paul ready to depart tomorrow kanya, preach until midnight. So yun po isang example na araw pala ng linggo na itong mga kapatid ito nagkatipon na di sila nagkasala. So, ba't nila ginagawa yan? So, ito inutos sa kanila. Hindi na natin nabasa yung utos, pero nakita natin yung bunga ng kanilang utos. Yun, for example. O kaya, necessary inference. A necessary inference is something that we do not read in a verse. But when we read the verse, this is a necessary conclusion. Dun sa Matthew 3 verse 16, sabi dito, after Jesus was baptized, he went out of the water. Immediately, he went out of the water. The inference necessarily is, he cannot come out of the water unless he entered into the water. Yun ang necessary inference. That's the conclusion. May panimama, sabi mo, narinig mo yung kapitbahay, bumaba ka dyan, Pedro, kanya. Hindi naman natin nakita kung bakit si Pedro, pero bababa siya, hindi siya pwedeng nasa puno, kundi sa umakyat. That's necessary inference. So, yun ang tatlong paraan that we establish scriptural authority. So, kung wala tayong direct command, direct statement, approved example, or necessary interest, then it is not authorized. Kaya nga, when we apply itong method of establishing scriptural authority, where is the statement, command, example, or necessary interest for people to come together for weddings or funerals? We are commanded to come together to eat the Lord's Supper. May utos yun. So we have to do it. This do in memory of me. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 11, 23 to 24. We are commanded to assemble, to teach and admonish one another sa pamagitan ng awit. This is Ephesians 5:19, Colossians 3:16. We are commanded to assemble for the purpose of edification or spiritual growth and encouragement. Doon sa Hebrews chapter 10, 24 to 25. Yun po yung mga, meron tayong mababasa. Meron mababasa ng authority in doing those things. Halimbawa, basahin yung binasa natin ngayon, Hebrews 10, 24, 25, ang purpose po niya for spiritual encouragement at spiritual growth. Basahin po ano po. Magsimula tayo sa verse 24. Ito. And let us consider one another in order to stir up love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as to see the day approaching. Meron tayong authority. These things are commanded, di ba? The question is, but where are the commands to assemble for weddings or funerals? As far as the church is concerned, meron ba tayong mababasa that the church need to assemble for funerals or church or wedding ceremonies. Wala, hindi ba? So in the New Testament, there are 70 passages that tells us specific things that God wants us to do when we assemble. Yung sinasabi ng Diyos yung mga bagay na gagawin natin pag nagkakatipon tayo bilang isang church. Meron tayong authority. We have the authority to sing, to teach, to serve the Lord's Supper, to give as we have prospered, and to pray. Those are authorized. There are passages authorizing those. Ngayon, when we apply that to the issue at hand, funeral or church building, saan? Kaya nga, dahil meron tayong otoridad sa mga bagay na gagawin natin to assemble, kaya meron tayong basis, scriptural basis, for authority to buy, build, rent a church building. Dahil nga sa mga bagay na yan, without these passages for assembly passages, we had no authority for church buildings. Kaya meron tayong church building for those purposes. Di ba? So the authority to build, buy, rent, and maintain church buildings comes only from those passages which authorize the things that are to be done in the building. Although church buildings are expedient, dahil may utos na tayo mag-assemble, they expedite or facilitate the accomplishment of God's will to do the things that God wants us to do. Di ba? So, nabibilis niya ang mga bagay na gagawin natin na inutos sa atin ng Diyos pag meron tayong building. Kaya yung problema rito, ano ang sinasabi kung bakit pwede tayo magkaroon ng funerals or wedding ceremony in the church building? Ang sinasabi, argument is because they are an opportunity to teach. In the case of the wedding ceremony, to teach about the sanctity of marriage and the need of faithfulness. Dun sa funerals naman, it is an opportunity to teach the people about the readiness to be ready in facing death. So yun ang nagiging basis for to authorize those things. Ang problema rito, nangyayari yung authorized na mga bagay, halimbawa teaching, edifying, itong mga bagay na ito, yung nagiging authority doon sa funerals or wedding ceremony. Ibig sabihin, kaya nagiging authorized yung dalawa dahil may pagtuturo. Pag ginawa natin yan, binubuksan natin ang church sa lahat ng bagay that aren't authorized just because there's a teaching being done. Tingnan nyo. Pwede tayo magkaroon ng social meals and fellowship halls inside the church building, provided that the Bible is taught. We could have exercise and workouts, gymnasiums in the church building for as long that the Bible is taught. We could have entertainment and recreation, provided that the Bible is taught. Pwede natin dagdagan. We could have birthday parties inside the church building for as long as the Bible is taught. Yung problema nito, yung mismong social meal, fellowship hall, exercise, workouts, entertainment, recreation are not authorized. So in other words, whether we put teaching in those unauthorized things will not make them authorized. Hindi ba? Yun ang makikita natin eh. Parang, itong bagay nito, wala tayong mabawasan, ito'y may authority ng church na gawin natin. Pero dahil mayroong pagtuturo, naging authorized na yun. Hindi pwede yun. We have to do something because the thing itself is authorized. Isipin nyo, yung social fellowship halls are not authorized. Period. Pero pag meron kang sinama pagtuturo doon, authorized na. So, nagbibigay ng authority doon sa unauthorized things ay yung authority ng pagtuturo. Hindi yan tama. That's not the way to establish Bible authority. In the first place, meron bang direct statement or command for social meals or fellowship hall? None. Are there direct statement or examples or necessary implications to a gymnasium in such a church building? There is none. Is there direct command statement, example, and necessary inference for the church to be involved in entertainment or recreation? There is none. So, tanong, is there authority for the church to hold funerals and wedding ceremony? There is none. So, lagyan po natin yan ng pagtuturo, it will make unauthorized things authorized. Kung yan ang ating magiging basis, kaya pwede natin gawin kasi may na naman tayong ginagawang pagtuturo. Yan ang basis ng mga kapatid doon sa pagkakaroon po ng birthday parties inside the church buildings. Nakita ko na po ito sa Facebook. At hindi nila itinatago. But bakit nagkaroon ng authority? Is there a direct statement, command, example, or necessary inference to hold a birthday party inside the church building? There's none. So kaya dagdagan po natin yung pagtuturo. Meron naman pagtuturo kasi. It will not make birthday parties inside church building authorized. In the first place, that is not authorized. O kaya yung Thanksgiving na mga batang panganak na may mga ninong at ninang, and they do it inside the church building. Meron naman pagtuturo kasi ng pagpapasalamat sa Diyos. That will not make that authorized. In the first place, that is not authorized. Nagtataka ko sa iba, is there something wrong with that? Kanina. Yes, when there is no authority, it is wrong. Mabilis nating mag-criticize sa ibang mga denominasyon. Why are you doing those? Those aren't authorized. Tapos meron tayong ginagawa which aren't authorized. Diba? That's hypocrisy. Sinistira mo yung iba, walang authority, tapos gumagawa ka ng bagay na walang authority, di ba? When weddings and funerals are conducted in the church building, why are people really there? Bakit sila pupunta doon? Did they come just to hear Bible teaching on the subject of death and marriage? Pag nagkaginawa natin ng wedding and funerals inside the church building, ang mga tao ba napupunta doon? Are they expecting a teaching on marriage? O kung the funeral, are they expecting preaching? Hindi, di ba? When you come to a funeral, it is to sympathize, to give comfort to those who are bereaved. Yan ang expectation sa isang funeral service. Ngayon, yung pagtuturo becomes incidental. Hindi yan ang main purpose ng funeral. Ngayon, ganun din po yung wedding ceremony. Ang wedding ceremony is a ceremony for God to join for a couple to make that covenant of marriage in front of witnesses. If there will be a sermon, that is just incidental. Marami po mga funeral service that do not have teaching. There are wedding ceremonies that do not have teaching on marriage. In other words, a funeral or a wedding ceremony is a standalone event. Wala siyang kaugnayan sa spiritual na bagay in itself. Ibig sabihin, we can hold a a wedding ceremony without scriptural teaching. Daming ganon. Yung mga hindi naniniwala sa Diyos, hindi naman nagkakaroon ng sermon sa pag-aasama. Ganon din ang funeral. There are many funerals where there is no funeral service. There is no preaching or teaching about death or readiness for death. So they are standalone. Well, So, ibig sabihin, in effect, um, weddings and funerals are social events. Ito'y mga circumstances where people gather together. Period. Not necessarily for worship or for teaching. Yun naman kikita natin diyan. So, mas makikita ba natin na funeral and wedding ceremony are incidental towards the teaching? Hindi naman, di ba? Pag sinabing incident, nagkataon lang, usually hindi yung planado. Halimbawa, nag-uusap yung mga kapatid bago yung service o nag-uusap yung kapatid pagkatapos. Those are incidental things. Hindi pinaplano yun. But when we come together for God-approved reason, Lord's Supper, singing, praying, teaching, or giving, those aren't incidental. That's the real purpose of our assembly. So in other words, if you are very careful, we have to admit that there's no authority to spend the Lord's money and facilities having only a social purpose. Kasi ang wedding ceremony at funeral is service are social in their purpose, di ba? So, hindi pwede yun, di ba? Hindi natin makikita. Ngayon, meron din nagsasabi, these are expedient. They are in the same category as the use of songbooks and pews, o yung upuan. By affirming that these are in the same category as songbooks or pews, we are making an argument that weddings and funerals in the church building actually facilitate the accomplishment of God's will in the work of the local church. Kasi pag isang bagay expedient, ito yung isang bagay na tumutulong para magampanan natin ang kalooban ng Diyos sa layunin niya. So, ibig sabihin, the church building, wedding ceremony and funerals are in the same category. They are expedient like songbooks and pews. Yun makikita natin. But this will make weddings and funerals a planned and purpose work of the local church. Katulad ng songbooks. Pag gumagamit natin ng songbook, is to expedite our singing, which is part of the work of the church. Di ba? So, pag ginamit natin expedient, yung wedding ceremony and funeral service held in the church building, it makes them a part of the work of the church. Kaya makikita, yung bang wedding ceremony and funerals are aids or are they separate functions in themselves? Ito ba'y tulong, may ba funeral and marriage ceremony aids in teaching about death and marriage? Or are they separate, independent or separate events in themselves? So, makita natin, can they stand alone without teaching the Bible? Can we have a wedding ceremony without teaching the Bible? Or can we have funeral services without teaching the Bible? Yun ang stand alone. They stand alone in themselves. Doon makikita natin sa buong sanglibutan, yung mga tao may karapatang mag-asawa are bound together in marriage. Kung minsan wala namang paniniwala sa Diyos yun o hindi man din nag-respeto yung kautusan ng Diyos. So regularly may nangyayaring gano'n. Whether they believe in God or otherwise, pag nagkaroon sila ng covenant between themselves, God binds them as one. Yun makikita natin. These weddings are officiated with absolutely no references made either to God or the Bible. Kaya they are standalone. Sabihin, kung atheist yung kinakasal, hindi man pwede, kahit hindi bagitin ng Diyos ang Biblia, makakasal yun. Actually, that respetuhin ng Diyos basta meron silang covenant of marriage. In front of witnesses. Yan yung purpose ng wedding ceremony. Diba? So, ibig sabihin, pwedeng magpakasal kahit hindi binabanggit ng Diyos. So, ibig sabihin, yung marriage in itself, marriage ceremony, yan po ay ibang gawain. Wala siyang relasyon sa gawain ng iglesia na makikita natin. Balik rin po natin. Posible na ituro natin ang lahat ng mga bagay na ituturo ng Biblia na may kaugnayan sa pag-aasawa, tahanan, at wala tayong wedding ceremony. Pag nagtuturo tayo ng totohanan tungkol sa pag-aasawa at tahanan, hindi natin kailangan magkaroon ng wedding ceremony. Hindi natin kailangan yun. Pwede natin ituro kahit walang kinakasal. Di ba? Pwede tayo magturo ng tungkol sa kamatayan na wala namang nakaburo doon sa church building. So, hindi natin kailangan yun para makapagturo tayo sa ganung mga bagay at katotohanan. Di ba? So, ibig sabihin, though Bible teaching can be done at a wedding ceremony, the two are not necessarily tied together. Wedding ceremony is independent of the Bible. Independent of the teaching about marriage. Hindi sila magkasama. Otherwise, kung magkasama yan, we cannot have a wedding ceremony without Bible teaching. Meron kinakasal, hindi turong Biblia. Meron kinakasal nga, di man naniniwala sa Diyos. Usually, nakikita natin yung point, they do not come together. Kasi if they come together, hindi ka pwedeng magkaroon ng wedding ceremony na walang pagtuturo sa Biblia or otherwise, hindi kayo isasama ng Diyos na magkasama. Kasi kailangan mo ng pagtuturo to have a wedding ceremony. Ganon din yung funeral service, di ba? It is the business of the local church that is the Bible. But it is not the business of the church to celebrate social and cultural customs and administer the legal requirements of civil law regarding marriage. Hindi rin din po business of the church to hold a funeral service inside the church building. So, yung makikita natin po diyan, kung ito po ay kasama sa gawain ng iglesia, I mean, if wedding ceremony and funerals are part of the work of the Lord, then we have to have as many as weddings and funerals in the church building. Kailangan doon gawin. Kasi gawain ng iglesia yun eh. So kapag may kapatid na ikakasal, kailangan kasal sa church building. Bakit? Kasama sa gawain ng iglesia yun eh. Siyempre, kung gano'n nga po eh, di ba? Pero tinatanggap natin sa funerals and wedding ceremony are a great opportunity to teach. And dahil gawain po ng iglesia magturo. Halimbawa, sa 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 8, kung ito po ay bahagi ng gawain ng Diyos dahil ito ay pagkakataon na magturo, hindi kailangan, we should accept every opportunity that comes along to conduct funerals and weddings in the church building. That we have and we can advertise. Sabihin natin, we allow church building, church ceremonies, wedding ceremony, and funerals in our building. Para doon gagawin yung funeral service at wedding ceremony at magturo dahil gawain ng iglesia yun. Yan naman conclusion na papapasok sa ating kaisipan. Actually, weddings and funerals are social events, not necessarily spiritual in nature. Yung pong funeral service is to honor the dead people. Yun ang purpose, no? Makiramay tayo sa mga taong namamatayan. Sabi nila, it is the best opportunity to comfort the bereaved families na mga Kristiyano kung gagawin natin sa church building. No. The comforting and sympathizing is not dependent on whether the funeral service done in the church building. Di ba? The comforting and sympathizing and having condolences is dependent on people. Kahit saan pa yun? Kahit nasa bahay, yung bangkay, pwede kang pumunta ron at makisimpatya sa mga namatayan. ang talagang purpose po ng funeral service is to honor the dead. Period. It's not necessary to honor God. Ay, wedding ceremony, alam niyo po natin yan. So, ibabagsak po ito sa convenience. Kasi alam niya, wala kaming pera sa magrenta ng ng lugar. So, doon lang sa church building. Gagawin niya aming kasal. O kaya, sasabihin nila, maliit yung bahay namin, hindi kasi mga tao doon. So, ano na natin gagawin sa church building? Based on convenience or based on customs. Problema pa yan. Every instances of wedding ceremonies in the Bible, meron pong kasamang pagkain, feasting, pagsasaya. Paano gagawin sa loob ng church building? Mabuti kung didekorasyonan natin ngayong building. Sa aking paniniwala, hindi gawain ng iglesia yun. It is not spiritual. It is not part of the work of the... Yes, it is an opportunity to teach the Bible, the truth regarding marriage or death. But we can teach that without funeral, without a funeral, without a dead body in the church building, or without a wedding ceremony. Those are two independent things. So, yun po makikita ko dito. Kasi, pag gagawin nating authority, ito'y pagkakataon magturo. Depende natin gawin ang lahat ng bagay sa loob ng church building for as long as there's teaching. The Bible, di ba? Kasi yun ang ginagawa nating authority. Mayroon pagtuturo kasi. Meron pagtuturo naman eh. Meron naman tayong pag-aawitan eh. So pagsamba na yon. Hindi Pwede lang natin gawin ng isang bagay if there is a scripture authority for the thing. Yun ang sumatotal nun. For the thing. For instance, pwede tayo mag-distribute ng benevolence in church building sa mga nangailangan mga kapatid. Kaya magturo tayo sa Biblia o hindi, okay lang yun. Because the activity itself is authorized. So, pag nilalagay na kasi mayroong pagkakataon ito magturo eh. Halimbawa, yung ako po, hindi is not to raise or aggravate things. Hindi. Pag-aaral lang. Yung Thanksgiving for children sa church building. Sometimes even with ninongs and ninangs. Alam ko po yan kasi may nakausap na ako sa bagay na eh. Anong authority doon? Wala. Saan yung authority doon? May bagong panganak, tapos pa pupunta sa church building, magpapasalamat, minsan may ninong at nina. Saan ang authority doon? Hindi mo pwedeng gawin sa bahay ng mga maghulang yun. Bakit sa loob ng church building? Dahil nga mayroong pagtuturo sa pagpapasalamat. We can teach about Thanksgiving without that. Kahit walang ganon, pwede na tayo magturo ng Thanksgiving. Those are two independent things. Bakit ginagawa natin yun? Alam mo, yung birthday party sa church building, nakausap ako, sabi niya, may naman na pagtuturo eh, pag-awitan nga eh. Pero in church, birthday parties inside the church building in itself is not authorized. Kaya magdagdag ka pa ng pag-aawitan dyan, ng mga awit at pagtuturo, is still not authorized. Yun po ang point natin dito. But having said that, kailangan po nating pag-aralan. Kailangan nating bigyan pansin. Hindi natin ginagawa isang bagay dahil nakagawian natin. It's out of tradition. We do not do things out of tradition. Just because it has been done for many years means it's correct. Ginagawa natin siyang bagay because it is authorized by the scriptures. Now, kung yung mga ibang mga gusto nilang gawin, nasa sa kanila yun. Pero, as far as I'm concerned, hindi ako naniniwala personally na pwedeng gawin ng wedding ceremony or funeral service inside the church building. Dito po sa akin, the city, There is no one instance where a wedding ceremony was done inside the church building or a funeral service was done in a church building. Automatic yan. Hindi na nga ginagawa ang mga funeral service sa mga bahay. Dumadalang na yon sa aming lugar. It is done in a funeral home. The wedding ceremony are done in resorts. Wala nga akong request na gawin ng ganun sa church building. At saka, hindi naman ganun kagandahan yung mga building. So, kung maarte yung kinakasal, mas gusto mas magandang lugar. So, hindi actually issue yan. Kaya lang pinag-aaralan nyo dahil sa amin, as far as we're concerned, na di man namin ginagawa yan. Yung tanong kasi, pwede bang iburo lang isang patay sa loob ng church building? Kung pinag-uusapan na yung scriptural authority, wala tayong mababasa. Kaya lang, minsan, pasabi nila, may motibo namin dyan eh. Hindi naman sosyalan yan. Ganyan. Ang motibo namin talaga sambahin ng Diyos. Habang may nakaburol doon. Ay, hindi po natin pwedeng hatulan yun. Di ba? Pabayaan natin sa Diyos yan. For as long as hindi sinasabi sa atin, kailangan gawin nyo yan. Dapat pwede na mag-church building eh. Basta bahala sila. Pero as far as sa akin as concern, hindi namin ginagawa yan. Na magkaroon ng any social events inside the church building. It was not constructed for that purpose. Ginamit ang pera ng local church doon sa bagay na yun. So, ba't natin gagawin ng isang bagay na hindi layunin ng pagkakaroon ng church building? Kaya may mga insidente na bagay. Na umulan, pumasok ka sa building, walang masama doon. Kataon lang yun. Hindi planado yun. O kaya, nagkaroon ng bagyo, pasamantalang napunta yung mga kapatid na nawala at bubungan ng bahay nila, pwede yun, pasamantala lang. Pag naayos na yun, babalik sila sa bahay nila. Hindi yun ang tirahan ng taon church building. May mga bagay na gano'n. Pero yung planado, like wedding ceremony or funeral service, hindi nagkataon yun. Ang nagkataon, hindi mo inaasahan yun eh. Pero pag wedding ceremony, hindi man inaasahan yun eh. Pinlano yun. So, hindi incidental yun. Hindi rin expect yan. Tulad natin pinapaliwanag. Ang pinag-uusapan niya kasi, nakagawian, nakasanayan. Pero hindi doon tayo sa nakasanayan o nakagawian. Doon tayo kung mayroong church authority. Nag-iingat tayo. Because baka mayroong pupuntahan niya later on na lalong hindi maganda. Yan ang pinagsisikapan nating iwasan. Tayo, naintindihan mo, gano'n. Eh, susunod na relasyon, baka hindi gano'n kayo lang pag-iisip. O yan, gagawin na nila. Pwede naman tayong kumain magkaroon ng social meal at fellowship hall sa church building dahil meron naman tayong gagawin pagtuturo. O yan, paano yun? Papasokan lahat ng mga bagay hindi authorized with the guys na meron naman pagtuturo. Meron naman tayong ginagawang pagtuturo. Years back, nagkaroon tayo ng issues church anniversary. Walang problema yan kung alalahanin lang nyo, fetsang ito, nagkaroon, doon tayo nagsimula, nagpapasalamat tayo sa Diyos, tayo lumawig. Walang problema yan. Pero kung sasabihin natin, this is a church anniversary service, ganyan. Ibang usapan yun. Paano naging gawa ng iglesia yun? There is no authority for that. Tapos meron mga accompanying social events, special singing, kaya drama, ibang usapan na yun. Walang autoridad yun. Kung gusto nyo kami sa ibang lugar, bahala sila, pero hindi inside the church building dahil hindi ginawa yung building yun for that purpose. Kaya mainis sa labas, kaya pumasok sa loob, that's not an argument. Hindi talaga ginawa sa isang bagay na ganun. For that purpose, di ba? So, kailangan natin tingnan yan. Mag-ingat po tayo kasi kailangan tayo mag-ingat. Hindi talagang gano'n. Hindi tayo basta susung sa isang bagay dahil nakagawian o tradisyon. Kasi epekto yan ng pinanggalingan natin, mga denominasyon na ginagawa nila yan. They hold the church, mayroong mga wedding procession inside the building. Parang hindi angkop eh. Those are social things. Those are not spiritual. Meron pang procession yan, tapos may aawit. Hindi tungkol doon sa pagsamba sa Diyos, kundi doon sa ikakasal. Ibang usapan yan. Those are social events. Kaya mahirap yan. We have to have authority for all the things that we do. Di ba? Sa Colossians 3:17, basahin po natin bilang panghuli. Kung mayroon kayong katanungan, pwede naman nating pag-aralan ito. Colossians 3:17, basahin natin. Ito po ang ating mababasa. And whatever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through Him. We have to be consistent. Kung sasabihin natin, sa mga denominasyon, ginagawa niya, wala kayong church authority, may nagtatiting kayo, wala namang authority sa New Testament, tapos meron tayong gagawin na wala na tayong church of scriptural authority, we are being hypocrites. Tinitira mo yung iba, ikaw rin may ganun. Wala ka rin palang church authority sa isang bagay na ginagawa, ay tinitira mo yung iba na wala silang church authority doon sa ginagawa nila. You have to be consistent. Diba? So maraming salamat po sa inyong pagkikinig sa ating pag-aaral sa gabing ito. Alam ko po this is very controversial, hindi sa atin, pero sa ibang mga bansa siguro, dahil ginagawa nila yan. Pero kailangan lang po tayo nasa katotohanan lang. Huwag tayong padalos-dalos. Mag-aralan po natin kung ang isang bagay nga po ay may otoridad o wala. Tingnan po natin yung mga comments. Good evening po. Good evening. Magandang gayon po, Brother Lordy, sa lahat ng kapatid. Good evening, everyone. Good evening po, mga kapatid. Watching. Rafael Ortiz, good evening po. John Bautista, good evening. Manuel Nazareno, meron lang siyang krus. Edna Delfina Mayor, good evening po. Bill Bar Jamer, magandang gabi po. Elasar Aguenga, good evening po. Marisa Rieta Manzanillo, good evening po sa lahat ng mga kapatid and friends. Regwi Arguelles, good morning kayo, kawali, good evening po. Palangga mga kapatid sa iyo din, Brother Lordy. Maya pabengke kayo nga. Si Brother Lito Lakanlalit, akong tanga po. Ibig sabihin, magandang gabi. Sir Darasi, good evening po sa lahat mga kapatid. Benjamin Dansan, good evening. Nice one, good topic, presentation. Thank you. Roberto Marasigan, good evening po, Brother Lordy, listening. Agosto 12, salamat sa paliwanag. Marisa Rieta Manzanillo, maraming salamat sa pagtatala sa paksang ito, Brother Lordy. Wala naman po. Di ganong nagsikin sa utak ko, pero ito po ang tanong ko. Kung meron pong may birthday sa isang kapatid sa iglesia at pagpapakain gagawin para sa mga kapatiran, okay lang po ba yung pag-graduation ng mga kapatid ay pakain? Kung ito po yung gagawin sa bahay nung may birthday, walang problema yun. Ano yun desisyon ng tao yun. Kung sa bahay niya, gagawin. Pag may nag-graduate at nagpakain sa bahay nila, walang problema yun. Hindi naman spiritual yun Sabihin, those are social events. But ginawa sa church building, yan ang problema. Kaya nga sabi ni Pablo, wala ba kayong mga bahay para kapag kumain at uminom, ganyan. Yung kasing pagkain at uminom, those are social events. Na hindi dapat gawin pagka nagkakatipon ang iglesia sa pagsamba. Ganon din yan. Pagka gusto niyo magpakain, gawin na lang nyo sa bahay. Hindi sa church building. Hindi yan layunin ng church building magkaroon ng celebration for whatever purpose sa loob ng church building. Ibig na, iniiwasan na nga po namin sa mga pagkakataon na may papasok sa building kumain. Hindi naman sa nagkataon lang. Halimbawa, nandun ako sa church building sa isang ordinaryong araw. May nag-aaral ako sa library at kumain ako doon. Incidental lang yun. Wala naman lalabas movie pa ako. Walang kasalanan yun. Pero kung gagawin yung kainan yung church building as a spiritual activity, problema yun. Yun ang issue. Wala man po mga tanong. Salamat. So, simple lang para masagot itong issue na ito. Katanungan lang. Nasaan yung church, yung scriptural authority for the local church to use its building for wedding ceremony and funerals. Yun lang. Yun. Saan naman pag-uusapan natin, doon lang tayo iikot. Saan yung scriptural authority sa isang ginagawa natin o tinuturo natin, etc. Doon lang tayo iikot. Pagka marami na tayo sinasabi at wala naman tayong naipapakitang mag-grade na authority, yun ba sabi na, basta yung exchange of vow ginawa sa loob ng church building, yung reception sa labas, pwede na yung kanya. Hindi pa rin. Hindi nga ginawa yung church building para magpakasal yung mga tao sa loob. Yan ang ginagawa for the spiritual edification, worship, at spiritual activity ng local church. Di ba? Yun lang ang purpose ng church. Kaya kung yung mga kapatid nagkakatipon sa bahay ng isa ka, walang problema yun. Baka may magsabi, ibig sabihin, banal bang iglesia yung church building? Hindi. Pero pag sinabi nating banal, yun po ay galing sa sanctification or to separate. Ang church building ay sanctify. Ito is separate sa mga bagay na hindi niya layunin. In that sense, it is holy. Dahil ginagamit natin ang church building sa purposes ng Diyos. It is separate from any other purpose. Pero hindi siya holy dahil andun ang Diyos. Hindi ha. Nagiging holy yan in the sense na andun ang Diyos pag tayo nagkakatipon. Ang Diyos, saan niya? Nasa gitna natin. Pag umalis siya tayo, building lang yun. Pero having said that, it is separated for God's purpose. Katulad na ginagamit nila sa templo sa tabernacle noong unang panahon, pag yung mga bagay are holy because they are separated for God's purpose. Hindi pwedeng gamitin sa ordinary layunin. Ganoon din ang building. It is separated for God's purpose. Yung ba'y gawain ng iglesia? Hindi. Yun lang po yung tanong doon. So, hindi naman po tayo nag-agitate na gusto lang natin pag-aralan. You put forth the argument, pag-aralan. At tingnan natin kung ano tinuturo ng Biblia. Wala masama doon. It's very healthy na pag-aralan po natin. Dahil yun talaga yung dapat nating attitude sa anumang bagay na ating pinaniniwalaan o ginagawa sa larangan ng pananampalataya. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikinig. Meron pa pala. Isa po, Brad, makilina mo nga po yung Acts 20 verse 7. Ano po yung problema po doon? Sa Acts chapter 20 verse 7, saan sinabi ni Brad kung ano yung kanyang concern doon. Sabi kasi ng iba, isang beses lang daw po yung nangyari yung pag-take ng Lord's Supper. Hindi pa lagi linggo kasi aalis ni Pablo kinabukasan, kaya wala nang pagkakataon pa yun lang daw. Tayo mali po yan. Hindi tamang isipin yun. Yung si Pablo, yung pagpunta niya doon sa lugar na yun, ay nagkataon lang. Yan ang incidental. In other words, bago pa dumating si Pablo, doon sa Troas, ginagawa na nila yun. Tingnan nyo, basahin natin yung mismo pananalita. Now, when on the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread, So, ibig sabihin, kahit wala na si Pablo, gagawin pa rin nila yun. Kasi yun ang araw na sila nagkakatipon. Kanya, para pagputol-putol ng tinapay. So, kahit nandun si Pablo, wala, gagawin nila yun. So, hindi po tama yung kanong klaseng kaisipan na nagkataon lang, bisa lang na ginawa. Bakit ganun sinasabi nito? Now, on the first, when pagka ganun lang argument, pati pagbibigay natin, hindi rin regular. Kasi parehong pananalita tayo, basahin nyo. Sa 1 Corinthians chapter 16. Ganun din basahin ninyo. Nagkaroon ba ng, ito po ang ating mababasa. Now concerning the collection for the saints, as I have given orders to the church of Galatia, so you must do also on the first day of the week. Kanya. Dito ganun din Now, on the first day of the week, kung yung sa 1 Corinthians ay linggo-linggo, dito rin sa Acts 27, linggo-linggo rin yan. Hindi totoo yung misa nila ginawa. Dahil nandun si Pablo. Kung isang beses lang yan, bakit naman doon sa Corinthians ginagawa rin nila yon? Di ba ginagawa rin nila sa Corinto, sa 1 Corinthians chapter 11? Hindi naman nagkataon lang yun. Talagang utos po yan. Utos yan. It's a command. Hindi nagkataon lang. Kasi pag sinasabing dahil nandun lang si Pablo, so hindi utos yan. Utos po yan Tingnan niya, basahin natin. Meron siyang regularity o consistency ng paggawa o pagganap. Basahin natin. Ano po? Sa 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23 to verse 25. For I received from the Lord that which I also delivered to you, that the Lord Jesus, on the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, "Take it. This is my body which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me." In the same manner, he also took the cup after supper, saying, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood. This do as often as you drink it in remembrance of me." May salitang as often as you drink it. So, hindi lang one time yan. May regularity yan. May sabihin, pag dumarating at sumasapit yung linggo, ginagawa nila yan. Anong pagkaiba ng context doon? Yung pareho lang yun. Utos ni Pablo yan sa Corinto. Andun din si Pablo So, kung inutos ni Pablo sa Corinto yan, ututosin din yung mga taga-Troas dyan. So, anong context na hindi magkapareho? Kailangan paliwanag nila yun. Ang context, pareho silang nag-Lord's Supper Bakit yun sa Corinto, as often as you drink it, kanya. Tapos dito minsan lang. Pareho lang ginagawa nila Dalawang utos ng Diyos sa mag-observe ng Lord's Supper. Iba yung utos sa Troas, iba yung utos sa Corinto. Yung nagsasabi niya, hindi nila alam sinasabi nila. Yun Anong context sinasabi nila? Hindi totoo yun. Yung Lord's Supper ay regular yan every first day of the week. Nagkakasala ba kami, Brad, kung after the Women's Bible Study, nagkakainan sa church? Bakit kailangan yung kumain kasi? Yung sabihin, pagkatapos ng Bible Study, sa pagsamba, sa linggo, kailangan tayong kumain. Gusto niyo kumain sa labas. Doon kasi minsan gumagawa tayo ng unless otherwise ito ay isang lugar na hindi naman church building. Minsan may nagre-renta mga kapatid na siyang lugar na ginagamit sa building. Pero minsan meron siyang dahil bahay yon yung inuupahan nila, bahay yon Merong kitchen doon sa bahay na yun na inuupahan nila, pwede naman sila kumain doon. Pero kung ito yung church building, ibang usapan yun. Bakit? Kasi ganon. Siguro, misa kasi, meron tayong nakakagawian na misa kailangan natin mag-isipan. Hindi ko, naging tradition sa atin yun. Pero isipin po natin kung Bakit? Kasi may pagkain. Hindi na naman tayo mag-aaral ng Biblia na walang kainan. Kasi yung sa mga gospel meeting, yan ang nagiging point of comparison. Kasi kailangan naman may ganun sa pagkain. Galing pa sa malayo mga kapatid eh. Nagpupunta doon. Imbes na yung hindi na mag-gastos ng iglesia yan. Gastos ng individual. Kaya ngayon, ang ginagawa namin sa akin, sa labas na lang, garahe na lang kakain, hindi naman para maiwasan lang natin yung anumang magiging makaibang kaisipan. Baka mag-develop pa ng ibang bagay. Maganda na nag-iingat. Nag-iingat lang tayo. Sabi ni Sir Manuel sa loob ng mismo ng church, meron naman lugar na sa labas. Wala lang po, hindi naman kayo karamihan. Hindi sa labas na lang. Parang hindi lang tayo pumunta sa anumang develop ng kumisang kasi. Nag-iingat lang tayo. Si Sister Sylvia Esquadra, maganda lang ito, Brad. Kailangan lang ipaliwanag bakit di parallel. Sabihin, kung saan naman, hindi sabi ni Sister Brother Rahim Arguelles, sabi daw ng iba, hindi na magkaparallel, magkaibang context. Sa paanong paraan? Napakagaling gumawa ng ganong klaseng reasoning eh. Pero kailangan nilang ipaliwanag, bakit hindi parallel? Hindi pa sa sinabing, hindi sila parallel, period. Hindi kailangan paliwanag nila, bakit hindi parallel. Yun ang dapat nilang sabihin. Hindi yung tataka sila dun sa kaisipan na, kung hindi kasi parallel in context. Ang tanong, paano sila hindi parallel? Yun ang dapat nilang sabihin para makikita natin yung point nila. So, yun po. Wala na po siguro ng tanong. Wala na pong tanong. Review wala. Minsan meron akong lalampasan eh. Wala naman po. Wala na. So, maraming salamat po sa ating pagtsatsagang pakikinig po sa ating pag-aaral. Iniulit ko po, hindi to instigate anything. Ano po? Ito yung pag-aaral lang. May nagtanong eh. If you do not agree, it's up to you. Pero, pwede mo sabihin sa akin kung bakit hindi ka sumasangayon. At pwede natin pag-aralan. Bilang kapatid. Ang mahirap kasi, yung iba masyadong defensive eh. Pagka tinatanong mo lang yung dahilan, at tinagawa nila isang bagay, nagagalit sila eh. Ba't tayo magagalit? Kailangan tayo mag-aral. Hindi naman kailangan magalit. Pag-aralin natin sa maayos na paraan. Para hindi tayo mapariwara. Kasi, kaya kailangan naman nagtuturo na ganitong paraan. It's a matter of concern, pagmamahal sa kapatid. Kaya kung minamahal niya nagtuturo at nagkakamali, you have to direct to him. Bakit mali yung tinuturo mo? That's brotherly, yung makikita natin. So, thank you, mga kapatid.
I walk with the King. I walk with the King to heavenly land. To heavenly land. The kingdom of light. The kingdom of light. The pathway of right. The pathway of right. Eternal His throne. Eternal His throne. Forever 'twill be. Forever 'twill be. To mansions on high. To mansions on high. A crown there for me. A crown there for me. I walk with the King. I walk with the King. Through pastures so green. Through pastures so green. Like white water still. Like white water still. To do His good will. To do His good will. He lighteth the way. He lighteth the way. From darkness to day. From darkness to day. I look to His hand. I look to His hand. I walk with the King. 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 His child ever be. His child ever be. Glad tidings to bring. bring, glad tidings to bring, His blessings to see, His blessings to see. His love floods my soul, His love floods my soul with glory divine, with glory divine. His riches and wealth, His riches and wealth, His treasures are mine, His treasures are mine. I walk with the King, I walk with the King, through pastures so green, through pastures so green, by quiet water still, by quiet water still, to do His good will, to do His good will. He lighteth the way, He lighteth the way, from darkness to day, from darkness to day. I hold to His hand, I hold to His hand. I walk with the King, I walk with the King. I walk with my King, I walk with my King. Though dark be the way, though dark be the way. He is the true light, He is the true light. The kingdom of day, the kingdom of day. Someday on yon shore, someday on yon shore, I'll hear His voice say, I'll hear His voice say, come home, you're my child, come home, you're my child. 'Tis evening past day, past day. I walk with the King, I walk with the King, through pastures so green, through pastures so green, by quiet water still, by quiet water still, to do His good will, to do His good will. He lighteth the way, He lighteth the way, from darkness to day, from darkness to day. I hold to His hand, I hold to His hand. I walk with the King, I walk with the King.
Meron pa pong naiwang tanong na po, bago ito eh. Yung daw po sa Acts chapter 2, tanong po ni Brother Ragim Arguelles, 41 to 47, meron daw kainan doon. Tingnan po natin, no? Dito po sa Acts chapter 2, 41. Ano po? Ito po ay nasa templo, kung sinin natin. Nangaral po yung mga apostles sa templo dahil doon sila nagse-celebrate ng Pentecost. Sa verse 41, sabi rito, then those who gladly received His word were baptized, and that day about 3,000 souls were added to them. And they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship, in the breaking of bread and in prayers. Then fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done to the apostles. Now all who believed were together and had all things in common, and sold their possession and goods and divided them among all as anyone had need. And so continuing daily with one accord in the temple, and breaking bread from house to house, they ate their food with gladness and simplicity of heart. Ito po, kailangan nating tignan yung lugar. Yung mga pagsamba, halimbawa sa verse 42, nasa temple sila, and they continued steadfastly, sa temple nila ginagawa yun, in the apostles' doctrine, and fellowship, in the breaking of bread, and in prayers. Ngayon dito po sa, lundag tayo sa verse 46, so continuing daily with one accord in the temple, so sila yung nagkakatipon na araw sa temple. Pero, pag kumakain sila sa bahay-bahay, hindi pagsamba yun. Pagkain talaga yun. Sinasabi lang, nagkakaisa sila. Sabihin, kumakain sila sa bahay-bahay. Tandaan natin, may mga kapatid rito na pansamantala lang kayo ng pagtira dahil galing sila sa ibang lugar, sa ilalim ng iba't ibang bansa, sa ilalim ng langit. So, nagpunta lang sila sa Pentecost. Siyempre, turista lang yung bali. Limitado lang yung pera nila. So, yung mga taga roon, pinapakain nila itong mga kapatid na from house to house. So, hindi sa church building. So, yung sinasabing breaking bread from house to house, ordinary meal yun. Sa verse 42, Lord's Supper yun. Magkaiba yan, mga kapatid. So, tingnan natin breaking of bread kung ano yun. Yun ay context ng Lord's Supper. Pag ito'y nagkakatipon. Pero dito sa house to house, ano yun eh? Bahay-bahay. So, hindi Lord's Supper yun. Yun ordinary pagkain. So, kailangan, tignan nyo, papunta tayo sa Acts 20 verse 7. Ano ba yun? Pagkain mo yun, no Lord Supper. Nagkakatipon sila eh. So, Lord Supper yun. Hindi yun ordinary pagkain. So, sana po, nasuko po natin yun. Yung bread ng aso namin, chicho at saka parehong chicho na po. Salamat po sa inyong pakikinig. Tayo po, tapos na po ang ating pag-aaral. Tayo po yung manalangin. Banal, kami po ay muli nagpapasalamat sa pagkakataon binigay sa amin. Sana po sa ganitong mga usapin ng mga kapatid na minsan ay nagkakaroon ng iba-ibang pananaw, ay maliwanagan po ngayon ng kaisipan ayon sa inyong salita at tanggapin po natin kung ano po yung katotohanan at bigyan po kami kapakababaan ng kalooban upang maunawaan po natin ang mga bagay na inyong gustong ipabatid sa amin. Kami po ay nasa panahon dito sa aming bansa na may konting kaguluhan at kami humingi dinanalangin sa aming mga namumuno sa aming bansa ay magkaroon karunungan upang mapanatili po ang kapayapaan at katiwasayan. Nabibigyan niyo uli kami ng karagdagan ng buhay. Tulungan po niyo kami sa mga dalahit suliranin sa araw-araw at tutubarin po niyo kami sa mga pagkakasa. At ang mga bagay po ito ay mahinig. Nakilang pangalan sa Kristo na Panginoon. Amen. So, ingat po tayo mga kapatid. God bless.